Hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of Noodle Journey, where we'll be taking a look at Samyang's original orange packaged ramen. I had such a good experience with the Samyang Buldak Carbonara noodles that I wanted to try what appears to be their flagship instant ramen product that they launched in 1963. So, since this appears to be the granddaddy of Korean instant ramen, I'm assuming that my go-to Nongshim Shin is basically Nongshim's version of this. In fact, it appears that all the major Korean instant noodle companies have their own variant of this, some of which are in my upcoming queue. I'm very curious to see which one I prefer taste-wise after this review, and of course all the pending ones. This orange package comes in a 5-pack for $5 to $10 depending on where you buy it. At the time of this recording, Coco Yam has it for $7. Not bad at all. What's interesting to me is that while I was reading up on flavor profiles for this package, some online storefronts touted this as a spicy beef flavor, but according to the ingredients, this particular one doesn't actually contain beef. A deep dive into an old Reddit thread led me to some packaging photos and confirmed that there are some variants of this that definitely do contain beef extract, so be mindful of checking the ingredients if you're looking for a vegan noodle option. I'm guessing this might be one of those things where the version sold in America doesn't contain the beef extract, maybe due to importing restrictions or something, who could know? Anyway, unless I missed something, this one in my hands that I received from Coco Yam does appear to be vegan to my eyes, and it is also labeled halal on the front if that's important to you. What you find at your local H-Mart might be a different story. It's only responsible to check the sodium levels, and for this package we are at 1930 milligrams or 80% of your daily allowance. That is pretty sodium rich. This does also contain MSG, and so I think now might be an appropriate time for a quick discussion on MSG, which is obviously going to feature heavily in a lot of our noodles. If you're an American who is afraid of MSG, knock that shit off. MSG is no more or less harmful than regular salt. MSG has been demonized in American culture since the 70s due to one anecdotal account by someone who got sick from Chinese food and baselessly blamed the MSG, which then garnered national attention. Since then, there's been plenty of evidence and studies that show there's no link between MSG and health issues in people who don't already have issues with sodium and glutamate, which by the way occurs naturally in lots of foods, especially fermented foods, and yet Asian food constantly gets targeted by this fear-mongering to this day. Just look at the Q&A section on Amazon for any Asian food product, and you'll see a bunch of pearl clutchers asking about MSG. It's sad that this still has to be explained, and yet here we are. Bottom line, if you're already someone whose body reacts poorly to sodium or glutamate, like what you find in cheese, soy sauce, or kombucha, then yes, by all means avoid MSG and high sodium noodles in general. But otherwise, there's nothing wrong with MSG, and if you've been missing out due to decades of misinformation, I promise it's delicious. In fact, MSG contains less sodium than table salt, and MSG chemically adds more flavor than an equivalent amount of table salt, meaning you actually use less sodium if you use MSG as a flavor enhancer in your cooking. Just saying. Okay, now without further ranting, let's check out the package contents. A square noodle block, and the noodles look to be thinner than what I got in the Buldak package. We've got a soup packet, and there's a dried flake packet which contains carrot, bok choy, chives, and cabbage. No scallions listed, which is interesting since I feel like scallion is always in these flake packets. And no, before someone corrects me, contrary to what your parents may have told you, chives are not the same thing as scallions. Let's get this cooking. Boil 550 milliliters of water, add the noodles, soup base, and flakes, and cook for 4 minutes. The instructions advise adding vegetables and scallions for a better taste, and so I will throw some scallions in at the end. So I can tell right now that before I even taste this, it has a different smell profile than Nongshim Shin, which is currently my only reference to this type of soup. When I opened the package, there was a noticeable smoky smell. Pretty nice. I believe it was smoked paprika or possibly an ingredient in the chili powder that's in this broth, and it was good. And I smell that right now that it's done cooking. Smoked paprika is a pretty powerful scent. So I'm not getting much else right now, but I'm looking forward to tasting this because I can tell right away that this is going to be a different experience than expected. And that's cool. Excellent noodles. Nice chewiness. Not overly soft. They cooked up very well. I'm going to give them a 7 out of 10. Now let's try the broth. So what's interesting is that smoky flavor is still hitting my nose, but it gets kind of enveloped into the other flavors going on in here. First off, the spiciness of this, comparable to Shin, maybe a hair less spicy on that first taste. I'm going to call this a 5 out of 10 for spice. I need more of that broth. Alright, so I edited out some parts of this where I was tasting the noodles and broth over and over again. This is really good. It's different than Shin, in that obviously it's less beefy. It's vegan as far as I can tell. It's got a really great smoky back end, a nice chili forward broth, and while it is salty, there's a lot of flavor going on behind the salt. Overall, this is a 7 out of 10 for me. 7.5 out of 10 even. Hell, let's do decimals. It's not quite as readily available as Nongshim Shin is in my area, so I don't know that this is necessarily going to be my new go-to as far as red chili-based Korean ramen. But if I'm ever in a store and I see this, or I'm putting together an online order again, this is definitely going on the list. It's really, really good, and I think there's even a little more interesting flavor going on with this than there is in Nongshim Shin. I know, I keep saying Nongshim Shin, but again, it's my reference right now. So this is excellent. I will definitely buy this again if I see it. And if you're looking for a vegan or halal spicy red Korean soup, go for this. Awesome, awesome stuff. Really nice surprise. How do you find this compares to the other red chili Korean ramen out there? Please leave a comment and let me know. And as always, please like and subscribe to continue on this noodle journey with me.